Good morning. Mm-mm. Good morning, y'all. How is everybody doing? It is Sunday morning. I am trying to work on YouTube stuff. Let me make sure this volume is turned. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is safe. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. Welcome to this live stream. I am coming on briefly while I'm trying to finish working on some videos just to chat with you all. I am primarily coming on because I'm still trying to decide if I am going to do a game night tonight. I believe that I am, even though I really don't feel fun, in a fun mood. But I believe I am still. Good morning, and thank you for joining the live stream. Uh-oh, I don't see you just yet, but I am coming. Thank you so much for taking a moment to hop in here. Let's see who we got. Hey, commentary with Latu. It is so nice to see you. And thank you for joining in, Latu. Latu, it is so much going on. It is so much going on. You said you feel out of touch. How have you been, my brother? How have you been? I'm trying to bring up the comments on my tablet. Latu, it is so much going on. I didn't do my little weekly recap series because of so much going on. Oh, it's okay. There is no need to apologize. Trust me, I understand. I'm happy that you popped in just now. I'm happy that you popped in. Let me turn that down. I felt guilty because I felt like, oh my gosh, I've been going pretty strong and being consistent here for a little moment. And then all this stuff started happening around us. And I was so drained, that every time I tried to sit down and work on content related activities, I would get discouraged. And the two, I'm so extremely close to my 4K watch time hours. um, my subconscious spoke to me and said, Pandy, you done came entirely too far and you've worked entirely too hard to stop now. And so I'm trying to not let all of the negativity that's going on around us affect me to the point where I develop a give up spirit. You know what I mean? So I'm very happy to see you here this morning. I really appreciate it. I really do. How are you doing? And how's everything going there where you are? Let you. YouTube is a challenge. Don't give in to the pressure. Yeah, I agree. And thank you for those encouraging words. I appreciate it. It really is a challenge. It really is. It's very easy to get sidetracked and get discouraged too. Oh my goodness. You have come a mighty long way, my sister. Thank you, Latu. I I don't even know how I've gotten this far. But what I've been trying to do is not really so much look at these numbers. It's been busy and messed up. I'm trying to keep strong. Yeah. Are you still working like out in the field? I know you had to go away for work at one time. And how are things there? I mean, with the whole pandemic situation, is it now under control over there? It is still, it's still kind of really rampant here, but of course, because of the economy and people protesting because they're tired of being cooped up in the house, they want to go back out. So many states are now opening back up. And, I personally don't think that's a smart thing to do, but what can you do when you've got so many people in, you know, authority positions deeming it okay? So now we have that going on. People are right back close quarters, up in each other's faces. Droplets are still spreading and flying out into the atmosphere. That thing is still not fully under control. And then to add to that, we now have this whole brash of violent protests taking place in nearly 20 cities here. Nearly 20 cities. hmm It's been busy and messed up. You're trying to keep strong. It's going so rough around there. Oh my goodness. Wow. People are getting frustrated with this being the new norm. Right. It's terrible. It's terrible. I tried to call myself multitasking this morning. I'm literally trying to edit a little quick uploaded video just because I have not put up a video this week at all. I did do a live stream yesterday as I was preparing my yogurt parfait. And I thought about you because I remember the last time I was in the kitchen cooking something and you said, Pandy, this is good. This is a good style for you. So I was preparing my stuff and I was talking and chatting as I was preparing it. I only had a couple people come in, but it was nice. It was nice because it actually allowed for me to release some of the frustration and just have an open conversation and dialogue about what's going on here. Especially since I didn't do my weekly recap series, I was able to actually recap the week in the live stream. And honestly speaking, with what's going on and with what I plan to cover in the weekly recap, those videos usually are only 15 to 20 minutes long. There would have been absolutely no way for me to put everything into a short video like that. Good morning, Jennifer Miller. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing? How are things looking there in your perspective area with regard to all of this violent protest that's occurring? And did you all get a chance to see that they started up here in South Carolina last night? They actually started up in downtown Charleston with the what was supposed to be silent, non-violent protest, and then of course, you know how that is. It starts off that way, but then it turns crazy. You put the medicine cabinet in your watch later. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Those are like my little work chronicles where I talk about everything pharmacy. So they're like little short videos. I like it though because it allows me to talk about my work and just give a little bit of background and education on what all that entails. I actually enjoy that little series. So thank you, Latu. I was saying too yesterday in my morning live stream, man, good morning and welcome. Let me just take a breather. Good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome to everyone joining the live stream this morning. I appreciate you all so much for being here. I'm Pandy of Pandy's Here, Candy and More. If this is your first time popping over to my channel, thank you so much and welcome. If you are already chat family with me, then you already know what it is. This is a old school quick morning chit chat. No real topic. We're just kind of having an open dialogue and feel free to join the conversation. As long as you are respectful, you are more than welcome to join the conversation. Jennifer says, I'm good. I stayed out the way and got those infiltrators, and they got those infiltrators starting up all the mess. You know, that is the disturbing part right there, Miss Jennifer, that I was hearing all night as I was watching CNN last night, as I was watching the local media outlets here in South Carolina. You know, I believe they started up the protests in downtown Charleston outside of the Emmanuel AME Church, the Mother Emmanuel AME Church. And for those of you who are not aware, the Mother Emmanuel AME Church is the church that the young man, I'm not even going to call his name because I absolutely refuse to shine any type of light on this individual, but the young person went into that church. I believe it was 2018. It was a weeknight, it was Bible study, and there were nine parishioners in the church. And in comes this young man. And if you are familiar with a church at all in any capacity, and particularly a black church, when you are having Bible study, a church is a sacred building, it's a safe place, supposed to be. And they welcome visitors. They welcome visitors because they are in there having Bible study. They're eager to share that encounter with you. So they unknowingly welcomed this person in. He said he was hungry. They fed him. And at the end of the day, nine people were gunned down. Um, Nine people were gunned down. They were murdered. The individual then fled. He got a few cities over and then he was captured. He has not been, I mean, he's been charged, but I mean, he's just sitting behind bars right now. He's still alive. Those people are perished. And so I said all that just to give you all a little backstory on where they started this protest here in Charleston on last night. They started it downtown Charleston outside of that church, I believe, because of the symbolism of, the racism. But the thing that I found very interesting is as the media, good morning, just Teresa. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that everyone is doing well and is staying safe in their respective areas because it is a lot going on. Um, the thing that I noticed yesterday as I was at home watching the news, and I was so thankful that I didn't have to work yesterday because I would have been right in the immediate area of where they were. So, hmm, I'm just thankful for that. But anyway, they began the protest downtown Charleston around 2 p.m. yesterday, and as the media was panning the crowd, it was a mixed crowd. It wasn't just black protesters. It was actually an awful lot of white protesters. And I think that's a good thing to a certain degree because it shows that not only are black people tired of the violence that is occurring at the hands of law enforcement. We all know that the whole incident in Minneapolis with Mr. George Floyd being murdered at the hands of police and actually being captured on camera being broadcast live. More information coming out about the particular officer in particularly the one who actually kneeled onto Mr. Floyd's neck. It sparked outrage. That video went viral and it sparked outrage, it sparked emotion, and protests have pretty much spiked in. Yesterday, when I looked, it was over 20 cities, probably more, because I mean, we have 50 states, and who knows how many cities in each state. So, I say all that to say this because I was so drained, just mentally wore out, just watching this stuff unfold over the week. But anyway, let me quit because I'm rambling. I'm going all over the place. I was watching the coverage of the protest here in South Carolina downtown yesterday, and I noticed that it was a multicultural, like ethnically diverse crowd of people. And that goes to show that, more than just black people are outraged. Everyone is outraged. Um, it just isn't right to keep seeing black people lose their lives at the hands of law enforcement, regardless to what led up to the incident. It should never, especially if a person is detained, it should never be their life that they pay with. That's just my opinion. Um, and the other thing that I wanted to kind of speak on, like Miss Jennifer kind of stated earlier, they got those infiltrators starting up all the mess. Now, there have been reports that I have been hearing on CNN as well as CBS and other media outlets online that certain certain racist groups and organizations have been actually placing agitators into these protests in many states. And I don't know how true that is, but I just don't think they would be reporting it on reputable and credible media outlets if it weren't some type of truth or fact behind it. And that is very scary. That is very scary because in several of these protests, people have gotten injured. A couple of people have actually even died, have actually been killed. Um, I know that we are tired and I know that we want to make a change and we want to see a change, but there's a certain way that I guess it has to be done. And it doesn't help that we have tweets coming out from high places suggesting violence towards others. And I don't think that it helps to loot and, burn down things either. So I don't know. I mean, like, you guys, we're in this crossroads place where it's like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? And then on top of that, we still have this ongoing pandemic that is like rampant. There's no cure. People are still dying. That is still an issue. Many people have been forced into unemployment as a result of that. People have lost their jobs. People can't pay their bills. People are coming into contact because they're not social distancing, and it's like so many distractions. This whole incident with this officer and Mr. Floyd, I believe it's kind of taken the attention off of that. And to be quite honest with you all, minorities and people of color and people with pre-existing health conditions or underlying health conditions, we're at the greatest risk if we are to contract the disease or the virus. So, you all, I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted to come on this morning and just kind of chat with everyone. Check in, see how everyone is doing, make sure everyone is staying safe, and pretty much, like Miss Jennifer said, staying out of the way. Staying out the way. Jennifer said, they just need to quit watering down racism in America and bring it to the table and recognize the fact that it's time to deal with this. I agree with that statement 100%, Jennifer. I agree with that statement 100%. My only concern is who's going to be the one to bring it to the table? You know what I mean? Who's going to be the one to bring it to the table when half of our elected officials and I guess people in authority that would actually have the means to bring it to the table and address it head on are pretty much kind of silent on the matter. You know what I mean? Where do we even begin? I see I'm going to use YouTube just as an example. I see that there's a lot of people that are discussing the matter. I see that there's a lot of coverage on the matter. I see that there's a lot of suggestions, but where do we begin? I even have seen where people are suggesting boycotting shopping at certain businesses on a certain day. And I heard the argument presented, but what is that going to do? What is one day of not shopping and supporting these businesses financially going to do if it's only for one day and you're only going to turn around and go back to spending your hard earned money at these organizations the next day? Is it going to be felt? And I believe that's why we're seeing so much of what we're seeing. And do I agree with it or condone it? Absolutely not. But I think that the reason why we're seeing so much violence and anger and outrage and looting and burning down and throwing uh what do they call cocktail bombs and things like that, all this violence, because people are outraged, people are angry, people want to be heard, people want to see some changes. However, and unfortunately, I think people that are resorting to those types of behavior feel like that's the only way that they're going to get recognized or acknowledged. You know what I mean? Because it seems like when people try the legal route and to, go to their legislators to bring these things to the table to try to put them on the forefront so they can be addressed and dealt with, it never happens. It never happens. When there are election years, these people come out to these communities, they sell them dreams, they talk about all of the changes they're going to implement, and then when they get into these elected positions, it doesn't take place. It doesn't take place. And then when we see stuff like what we've seen happen, just using the last 3 weeks, we've got Mr. George Floyd, we had Mr. Ahmaud Arbery. Then prior to that, we had Breonna Taylor. Those are just the last 3 weeks that three African American people lost their lives to the hands of law enforcement. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you've got people saying, well, if the looting starts, the shooting starts. I mean, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's very upsetting. It's very upsetting. Jennifer said it needs to start at the top. Certain laws need to be changed. Facts. I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. I don't know, y'all. Like I said, I came and I sat down at my computer and I was like, you know what? Let me quit looking at this news for a minute because it was just, I felt like I was in a stagnated position and I wasn't getting anything done. And I didn't want to lose sight of the task at hand. Hey, Web Savvy Cafe, good morning. Good morning, good morning. You got your cool glasses on. How are you doing, Web Savvy? Just having a little quick morning chit chat, checking in with you all, making sure that everyone is okay and staying safe. Jennifer says the people need to start holding these elected officials responsible. And if they are not doing enough to right this problem, vote they butts out. That is it right there, Miss Jennifer. And see, this is what kind of this conversation can go all over the place, but I'm enjoying it. Um, I will have respectable debates with people all the time. When I try to talk to them, when it's time to vote, the elections are coming up, and especially my brothers and sisters. I'm like, are you registered to vote? Are you voting? Oh, it burns me up when they're like, I don't vote. It don't do no good for what? I'm just like, are you seriously kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? Your one vote could actually impact a change that is necessary. And so it's like you got this whole education process that needs to take place. You got this whole conditioning system that has been placed on our people. And then when you really break it down, I mean, I go all the way in. I'm like, are you seriously kidding me? Do you know how many of our ancestors fought and died so that you could have the right to take your behind down there to the ballot and actually vote? And when you do vote, please make sure that you are researching each and every candidate. I mean, you got to comb through like you doing a dang FBI background check because you need to make sure that they are who they say they are and they represent who they say they represent. And you know that they have not stood on things in the past that would negatively impact you. You know what I'm saying? You just have to educate yourself and make sure that you are doing your part to put the right people in office. And if they get up in there some kind of way, and it's later found out that, you know what, they ain't about the business they said they was about, like Miss Jennifer said, the next election season, we have to get them up out of there. We can no longer sit idly by and just, you know, go with the notion that it is what it is. It is what it is. That's just the way it is. It's just so crazy. It's just so darn crazy. Web Savvy says, this reminds me of the civil rights movement era. I'm concerned about my son, nephews, and their friends because they are feeling like their hands are tied, and I can hear the bottled up anger and despair. Oh my gosh. Web Savvy? Mm, mm, mm. Yes, yes. I mean, as the mother of two young black men and one young black lady, I'm scared. I'm scared for their safety. I'm scared because of what I'm seeing play out on the media all over the country. I'm scared for my own safety. I spoke about that yesterday. I'm in the South, and in particularly, I'm in the country. I will not get in my car and drive after dark. Not because I drive a raggedy car and I think my car is going to break down. Not because, I don't have a license or insurance, But I think about Sandra Bland. I think about Breonna Taylor. I think about how they are black women like myself and how they're no longer here with us and that how they died at the hands of law enforcement. I don't even want to set myself up or put myself in a position where I'm caught in the evening time on a dark country road and I'm being pulled over by the police. Now, the police is supposed to be people that we respect and trust to do the right thing, but more and more we're seeing them do the wrong thing. So, I mean, it's been so much. It has been so hard for me to even, you know, disassociate. Okay, Pandy, turn your feelings and your emotions off about what's going on and work on your YouTube content. You know what I mean? This is why I haven't done a video all week. And I had been so pleased with my track record and my level of consistency because anyone who knows, who's been with me for a while or since the beginning or the very beginning, knows that was my number one thing. It was an inconsistent hit and miss thing with me putting things up on this channel. But I've grown over the course of a year and I've learned, in order to build your YouTube channel, you have to stay consistent. You have to continuously put stuff up. And, you have to also network and support others that support you. And it's just been such a struggle, in particularly in the last few weeks for me, because I've been seeing so much stuff occur towards my people. And it's like, oh my God. And like I said, I knew I couldn't bottle up everything that occurred this week and put it into a little 20-minute video. There would just be no way. I would have to do several parts. And the enemy really played with me yesterday and said, I was just like, forget it. I'm not even going to do the weekly recaps. I'm not even going to discuss it because there's no way. I'm angry and I'm upset. How would I do it? And I'm like, no. I decided to go live instead and have a discussion. And because I'm sure that if I was feeling this way or if I was being triggered and impacted by the situation, I could not be alone. So that is one good thing about YouTube and other social media platforms. We do have the ability to go live and actually open up the discussion where we can actually talk about it. And, it's a release. It's a release for us to actually come and talk about these things in a forum where it's safe, it's respectful, and hopefully it'll bring about some sense of release. For me, it did. And that's why I'm back here today. Because A, I care about what's going on, and I care about you all. I care about you all. I have grown to know you guys. I have grown to love and appreciate you guys. And I get concerned when I don't see you. When I don't see you and when I don't hear from you, I get concerned, you know? And I mean, I'm not the biggest YouTuber. I've got a little over 1,200 subscribers. Um, I believe that, you all genuinely support me because I genuinely support you. And I just feel like, you know what, if we're going to cover celebrity entertainment, if we're going to cover things like that with people that we really don't know and don't have any kind of relationship with, we surely can cover stories and topics on things that affect us as a whole and as a community. Let's see, Jennifer says, wait a minute, dang, I done missed a whole bunch of comments. I'm so sorry, y'all. I was just ranting. Let's see. Commentary with the two said exactly, Candy. Voting is not only a right but a privilege. Yes. one that our ancestors fought hard for, and we should definitely take advantage of that. Web Savvy Cafe says this reminds me of the civil rights movement era. Yes, I did see that one. Jennifer said, Web Savvy, I hear you. It's a shame to ask a little black boy what he wants to be when he grows up, and he says alive. Oh my God, I didn't see that. Mm, mm, mm. Jennifer said, Pandi, like my parents told me, don't stop until you get home or near a public place. Okay. Okay. And Web Savvy, yes, Sandra Bland's murder happened where I attend school. Oh my goodness. It was so close to home, it became personal. That really opened my eyes to African American women being in jeopardy as well. The police are now being the overseers from slavery. I care about you and my YouTube friends and family too. Yes, because that's why I say, I don't, I'm not, I hope people don't get offended when I say, hey, Pandy's Peeps or Pandy's Peeps. I really feel like you guys are an extension of family, okay? Or I call y'all my chat family. And I like to say that more so than Pandy's Peeps because I just don't want people, people are so sensitive. I don't want people to be offended. So, yeah, man. And then, in with regards to what Jennifer said about don't stop until you get home or near a public space. Listen, I am in the country, okay? We're talking dirt roads and farms and all that kind of stuff. So I have played this out of my mind before, like, okay, if the cops get behind me, I'm just going to keep driving until I get to where I go. But then I'm like, am I going to get shot because they think I'm trying to pursue? Because I'm not stopping if I'm like in the woods or on a road where there's hardly any traffic and there's lights are far and few and in between. I ain't stopping. So, I just said to eliminate all that, get your behind off the road before it get dark, you know? And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. It should not be that way. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh my gosh. And it's already Sunday. Drive the speed limit. Yes, I do drive the speed limit because, I've been known to have a heavy foot and like to fly. But I ain't been flying lately. I just be driving the speed limit and got my seatbelt on and making sure I'm doing what I need to do. But hey, sometimes that don't even matter. Sometimes people still don't make it home. It's just so much. I'm glad that we can come together and actually vent about it and just kind of support each other in that way. It's hard because I want to say, well, I hope everybody's having a good weekend and, be this cheerful person and, be able to give some encouragement and light. But how? With so much darkness and negativity going on, it's just rough. It is a really rough time right now. It is a really rough time. And also, it's Sunday. It's still early. It's Sunday. It's 11:10 for me here on the East Coast. So I was thinking, well, maybe I won't do game night tonight. But then I was like, no, I will because I had already prepared it and everything. I just don't know. Like, are people gonna come back? Are people even in the mood to play games right now or do any kind of trivia? On one hand, I feel like, yeah, that would be a good distraction to kind of take your mind away from all this foolishness that we are seeing. And then number two, I felt like, well, maybe you shouldn't do that because that's selfish of you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Jennifer said, okay, I've got to get breakfast so I can prepare my mindset for Sunday school and church. So there's Is there game night? Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, I guess I do have a quick little game night prepared. And also, it is the end of May. It is May 31st. It is National Mental Health Awareness Month. And honestly speaking, let's look at that. With it being National Mental Health Awareness Month, with all of these events that have been going on, it's enough to drive anyone into a mental break, I would think. I mean, as I watched my replay from my live stream yesterday, I was in shock. Church is online and so is Sunday school. Okay, good. So you're not going into harm's way. Awesome. Well, that's wonderful, Jennifer. If you got to head out, I totally understand. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you as always. I love you, and I will see you later. Okay. Um, I was looking at the replay, right? And I was like, oh my God. I was so emotional and so triggered and outraged. I was like holding back tears as I talked about certain points. And I've been finding myself in that predicament a lot lately. Like when I come home from work in the evening and my husband gets home and we'll just be sitting down over dinner, talking about what's going on. I'm checking in with him, seeing how his day was. He's checking in with me, and we're just talking. And I feel like there's a sense of release that we have each other and we can share and encourage one another and hold one another up. But then I also feel, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I feel like, dang, we got all this going against us. And I'm sure I have the despair on my face and I can see the despair on him. And it's just like, when are we going to get into a better space as a whole? Not just as Black people, but everyone in this country and abroad. Because, like commentary with Latu said, I mean, that's my brother over in South Africa, and as just was checking in with him, he's saying it's a lot going on over there too. So it's not just here in the United States. It is so much going on. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I really wish that I had the power and the ability to just come in and snap my fingers and fix it. And, it will be peace and love on earth for all men, women, and children. But we know that's a hope that simply cannot be. We know that there's a number of things that need to take place. We know that we need to vote if we have the ability to do so. We know that we need to guard our mental capacity. You know what I'm saying? Is I guess like you hear people say, protect your energy. Be mindful of what you are putting in to your mental space. And I mean, I don't know. It's like on one hand, you can train your children and even yourself on doing all of the right things so that you don't find yourself in a predicament where you are on the other end of the law enforcement's weapon and you find yourself dead. But then it's like you see people who do everything they're supposed to do, who are living um, a productive life. They're not breaking any laws, they're not a criminal, and they still lose their life. You see people that um, are in their homes. What was that man's name? I cannot think of his name. but it was the guy where the lady said she went to the wrong apartment. Geiger or something like that was her name, I believe. I cannot remember the victim's name. And I do not like to call these stories without remembering the victim's name because we need not forget these people. We just don't. And what I'm saying, and I'm saying all that to say this, we can do everything that we're supposed to do to try to keep ourselves safe and make it home each and every day. And yet, and still, some kind of way, you get up and you turn on the news in the morning and someone else has lost their life. Hey, Miss Full Roller. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Miss Full Roller, your live stream last night was so powerful. I was like thinking as I was sitting there doing my little wash and go, I was listening to you while I was doing my hair last night. And I was like, maybe this is the reason why she was telling me I need to go to sleep and get some more sleep. I'm definitely I was hearing you in a different light. I was hearing you in a different light, and it makes a whole lot of sense because y'all know I don't get much sleep. I get a few hours and I get up and go. So I'm gonna have to really give the intermittent fasting a shot. I know all about it because I come from a church background. However, the way that it was broken down in your live stream last night gave me a whole different perspective on it. So thank you. And thank you for popping in this morning. I appreciate you being here. Um, I just came on this morning, like I said, to have a quick morning chit chat. I used to always do this in the morning before I would clock in for work because I used to get dropped off by my husband. I didn't used to drive for a long time because one of our vehicles was down and it cost a lot of money to get it fixed. So I was always carpooling with him. So now that my car is back up and running, I've been taking myself around. And so usually I wait until the last minute. I don't get to work as early. So that's why I hadn't been doing it as much. But I wanted to come on this morning and just chat with everyone, make sure that everyone is okay, everyone is safe, because watching the news last night, it was so many protests sparking up all over the country, just out of nowhere. Like I said, it broke out here in downtown Charleston last night outside of the Mother Emanuel AME Church. And that was very symbolic of the fact that we know that young man went in there into that Bible study that night and gunned down those 9 people. Hey, good morning, Carolyn Eats All. Thank you so much for popping in this morning. I appreciate you all being here, and I thank you so much for being here and allowing me to vent. Um, And I don't want you all to think or, expect, oh, now she's going to be just going live to vent about the situation. No, not at all. Not at all. As I was stating yesterday and today before, you all came in, I simply came on this morning because I came in, I sat down at my computer and I was trying to edit this upload that I plan on putting up on this wash and go that I did last night. And I started sitting here, what do you call it? Procrastinating. I was procrastinating about doing game night tonight, because that's my little Sunday night thing. And I was going over the pros and cons in my head, like, oh no, I'm not going to do it because people probably ain't going to be in the mood to play no game. And, Pandi, that's kind of selfish of you. People got all this going on and you trying to do a game night. So I had all that going on, but it seems like it would probably be a nice, healthy, fun distraction from all the stuff that is going on. So I am going to still do it at 7 p.m. this evening. And if you all can come through, that'd be wonderful. If not, I understand. Let's see, Miss Furla said, folks are tired, so it should be no surprise as to what is going on However, many of the events are being agitated by others trying to make us look bad. Yes, that is the very same thing that Miss Jennifer was saying because I was asking everyone, how it was in your prospective areas because initially there was nothing going on here in Charleston. It was nothing going on in South Carolina. But last night it started up and it started up as it was fairly mild, it was law abiding. Um, it was a peaceful protest, as they like to call it. It was a peaceful protest, and it was actually a lot more white people out there protesting than black people. And me and my husband kind of joked about it. We were like, black people ain't finna go out there and be out there because, for one, when the tear gas and the shooting and the stun guns and things of that sort start, we gonna be the ones to catch it. So we were joking, saying, if they were smart, they might kind of stay away from that. And that's sad because you should be able to protest what you don't believe in or you disagree with. But just in the times that we're living in and what we're seeing play out, it's just not safe. It's not safe at all. It is not safe. And then, of course, like I said, it started out peaceful, but then as dusk came and then as night fell, you started seeing the violence, you started seeing the looting. And like Miss Full Roller just added, and Miss Jennifer added earlier, and as I even mentioned earlier, okay, thank you so much, Web Savvy. I appreciate that. Um, I heard on CNN as well as Fox News, and I know some people don't agree with them, but hey, it is what it is. I have heard on multiple media outlets as well as in other people's live streams that there are, in fact, agitators that are being placed at these protests all over the country, specifically to infiltrate the protests, to break a window, to throw a cocktail bomb, to start a fight. And oftentimes, these are not people of color who are doing this. And then what ends up happening is the violence is then kicked off and it's sparked. And, who ends up being the victim in the end when that type of stuff occurs? Black people. Black people. And it's so sad. It is so sad. And then I won't even put it all on the agitators because I've seen my young black people go out there and because they're frustrated and they're angry, they're triggered, they're tired, they're out there raising hell. They're raising hell, they're going off. And, I don't agree with it. I don't condone it, but I definitely understand it. You know what I mean? I understand it. So it's like it's a lose lose situation. It is a lose lose situation. Miss Full Roller says, Marvin Gaye's What's Going On was inspired exactly by what happened, i.e., police brutality. The song will be 50 years old next year, and the same thing is going on. Ain't that something? Mm, yep. And people have always said that history have a way of repeating itself. But to this magnitude, my goodness, it is so much. It is so much going on. Um, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I am going to put the link in here in case any of you guys that are here this morning want to come up real quick and say a few words, or if you have anything that you'd like to share or add to the conversation, I would love it because, like I said, I've been sitting here. That's the reason why I'm behind my avatar. I am working on a video that I was going to put up. And I literally was going to just put up this upload and be done. I was like, I ain't doing a game night. I'm about to put a little announcement that game night is canceled and just put this video up. But thank you guys so much for encouraging me not to do that and to actually stick with the plan and not be so distracted that I self sabotage myself. You know what I mean? Because I've worked very hard to grow this channel. And I'm so grateful and thankful to all of you all that support this channel and push me along with encouraging words and inspire me and motivate me to continue on to what it is I set out to do. Like I say all the time, I started this channel doing TV show reviews and reviewing the Eon the Fix My Life series because it interested me and it paralleled real life situations. And because I'm not one that likes to sit on the phone and gossip, but because I love to talk, I wanted to come to the platform and share. And I started getting feedback and interaction and people who agreed with me and a lot of people who disagreed with me, but it was a respectful dialogue. And then also because I'm a former cosmetologist, I used to own a salon years ago. I no longer do hair or anything of that sort. I now actually work in the medical field and have been for several years. But because I do still enjoy wigs, and so many people were always stopping me and asking me about the wigs, I decided to include that into the content that I present. And that's the beautiful thing about YouTube. You can actually share your life. You know what I'm saying? You can share. Good morning, Gigi. Thank you for being here, sis. I appreciate you stopping in this morning. We are just simply having an open chat this morning. I'm checking in with everyone, seeing how everyone is doing in their respective places, and just kind of chitting and chatting. That's about it. So thank you so much for hopping in. Just giving a little bit of a backstory on the channel and how I got here and where I plan to go with it pretty much. But that was it. I love sharing the wigs. I love sharing the natural hair journey because that's been a whole new ball of grease for me. Um, and I love just coming on and chatting live. Oh shoot, hold on. It just let me know. Miss Full Roller's here. Hey, Miss Full Roller.
Oh, I gotta turn up the volume so I can hear you. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I
Ah,
can hear you.
okay, now I can hear you. Yes, this conversation is definitely, definitely
Me.
needed.
Yes, ma'am. It is. How are you doing this morning?
Hmm, I'm good. I'm good.
Considering, right?
Yeah, it's been a definitely been a emotionally tumultuous week for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. It really has been. And it's so difficult to like kind of like compartmentalize all that's going on and then do what it is you need to do,
Hmm.
because it's like it's there still.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah, I was like
So,
like you. I had thought seriously about, uh, just not doing any, content whatsoever. And then, it just, I said, you know what? No, because that's exactly the goal, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So,
then you end up self-sabotaging yourself.
hmm yeah, self sabotage, but not necessarily driven by your own, self sabotage. It really is, it's that covert, sabotage.
Exactly. 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 And that was my whole thing too. I was like, well, you know what? I refuse to give in. I know I didn't put the videos out that I planned on. I had 3 videos that I planned to put out, but I can still hit this live button and I can still open up this platform and still, you know, make that opportunity available to not only myself to release this frustration and feelings and have this conversation, but I can, drop this StreamYard link and allow others to come on because I'm sure I am not the only one feeling this way
Oh no,
as a result of everything that we are seeing play out.
not at all. Not at all.
And it was almost like I was almost not going to do that because I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't discuss this on my platform. Maybe that wouldn't be a good look. But then I thought, you know what? I am a black woman who genuinely is concerned about what is going on around the world. And I even am fearful about transporting myself around at night, my vehicle. So why would I be silent about that?
Yeah, totally understand.
Why would I be silent about that? And I don't ever want anyone to misconstrue my intentions. Like, I'm not coming here to incite violence. I definitely don't think that all cops are bad cops. I definitely think there are some wonderful police officers out there. I definitely believe that there are some wonderful white people out there. So I'm not in any way trying to, oh my God, it's the white people and it's the police. That is not my intention at all. We're simply discussing these isolated events that we keep seeing happen, that keep playing out largely in part because of the technology. People are grabbing their devices and they're capturing it in real time. And it's going viral and we are seeing it. Okay.
Yeah.
And
The
it is
thing
affecting us.
the thing is though, these incidents are not isolated. That's how they
Yeah,
want to
that's true.
portray them, that they're isolated. They're not
That's very
isolated.
true.
Now, you know, they want, like I said, they want to make it seem like that, but let's not forget uh, the reverse that was done. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Birmingham, Alabama, the 16th Street Baptist
Mm,
Church, uh,
mm,
you know,
you're right.
the Atlanta riots of the 19, I think it was 1903 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Rosewood,
You
the
make a
the
good point there. This it is not isolated.
the Fourth, Avenue District in Birmingham, Alabama, where mobs came in and burned down our communities. We're tired.
Yeah, we are beyond tired. And you know what else, Miss Full Roller, that I found very interesting? Um, I heard on multiple platforms because, like I said, I've been so distracted, I hadn't been able to keep focused long enough to do any kind of content on my channel. So I said, well, Pandy, go on around and support the people you're connected with that are live right now. Just do that. So I was visiting multiple platforms and I heard this in several platforms and I thought about it like, you know what? That is so true. You notice that when there's like an NBA playoff or a Super Bowl, do you notice how people go outside of the
Mhm,
arenas and they
mhm.
light stuff up? They burn stuff down. They jumping on roofs of cars. They kicking in windshields. They tear up that area.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do that when their team has won, and
And
it's
that's,
worse when their team loses.
oh my gosh. Okay. And isn't that a riot? Is that not a riot? Are they not doing the same thing?
Oh no, they're just having fun.
Okay.
They're just
So
being
yeah,
naughty.
we definitely don't see the National Guards brought in. We don't see armed people brought in. And I will go on to say this, that a lot of times you don't see people that look like you or me out there doing those things.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to me. It's very crazy to me because it's like, okay, why is it such a contrast? And then what is it going to take for this to stop?
Well, I'll use
It's like a
no
number of things.
uh I'll use the expression from Ronald Reagan, even though it was more of an economic you know reference. Um, when your neighbor is unemployed, it's a recession. When you're unemployed, it's a depression. It's basically going to
Mm,
have to get right in their backyard at their front door.
wow. Yeah.
That's the because that's the only time it comes within their frame of reference, within their lens of sight. It's when it's at their front door.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's the thing too. I heard people saying, "Well, why are we tearing up our neighborhoods? We need to go into these other neighborhoods." And honestly, I guess like for me personally, I don't really agree with I don't agree with tearing up black people's neighborhoods. I don't really agree with tearing up white people's neighborhoods because I don't personally see how that is going to impact change or bring about the change that is needed. But I definitely feel like, okay, something has got to give because this is just too good. This is too much. It's too much going on. Black people need to stop being fearful of losing their lives at the hands of law enforcement. Um, you know, elected officials need to quit tweeting off retarded messages. You know what I'm saying? That are belittling to certain groups of people. And then elected officials and leaders like need to actually come and take a stand to say enough is enough and not in a threatening fashion towards certain groups of people because we all have eyes to see that in all these cities where all these protests and things are occurring, it's not just certain groups of people. It's multiple groups of people, and in large part, it's the other groups of people that aren't really being the victims in these instances that are the ones doing, being like the chaos agents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's exactly what they're trying to incite. Because there's already this bias that
Yes.
if we're in the vicinity, hell, you ain't even got to be in the vicinity
Okay.
now. That
Mm.
wherever you are, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Okay. You
And
fit the description.
exactly, not trying to see are you actually the person.
Right.
You fit the description, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
You sitting on the toilet. You
Exactly. Okay, I
in
was
your own
gonna say.
house. I'm finna
Man.
bring in your I'm just gonna say it like it is. Sitting in the toilet, in your own bed, in your own
Mm-hmm.
house
Mm-hmm.
that you paid for. You fit the
Mm-hmm.
description.
You fit the description. And that's the scary part. That
But
is
yeah,
the scary part.
there's other ways to go about it. I do agree. I very much agree.
Yeah. Because it's like I said, I understand people's outrage and anger.
Oh yes.
So I understand. I
Absolutely.
understand why people are, you know, burning and breaking into and all that. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it, but I do understand. And I feel like for some people, I guess that's their way of, I don't know. I can't put that into words, but I do get it.
I do want to bring up a point. Like they all, it's always said, why are they burning down their neighborhoods?
Mhm.
But let's look at this a little bit closer. Look at the neighborhood a bit closer.
Right.
What's mostly being burned down is the businesses in the neighborhood. Let me ask a
Mhm.
question. Do we own those? Do those neighborhood people own those businesses? Do they have the
Nope.
opportunity to own businesses in their own neighborhoods? No.
Very hard.
So how are they burning down their stuff in their neighborhoods when it wasn't their stuff to begin with?
Right. Right. Someone was saying, I can't, I've been in so many chats that I can't, it's hard to remember, but somebody was mentioning something the other day about, oh, well, this, this goes way back to Rodney King. And I'm thinking, like, no, actually, this goes way back beyond that.
Further, yes, the
That was
19
just, I want to say that may have been when it was, where we actually seen it on
right
video.
taking place exactly.
Right. But it's been going on for quite some time.
Yes.
And I just think we're so tired of it. We're so tired of it. We're so vexed in our spirit,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, because this has been
mentally.
going on for hundreds of years,
Hmm.
where a lot of the people are still that were children when this kind of stuff, like the incidences that I mentioned earlier, Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Heck, Tulsa, Oklahoma, just in the recent few years, recognized that event,
Wow.
which happened in 19, I believe it was 1921.
Hmm. Yeah.
But those the children who were children then who are still living remember that as if it happened yesterday. So this is not just
Right.
something
And
that's recent, you know, as they want to try to make it out
exactly.
to be.
Exactly. And the sad part about that is too that with that being said, it was like it wasn't abnormal for them as children to hear or even see these type of incidents occur.
Oh, not just here. I mean, actually be a part of it. Lost family members
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
a lie that incited. Oh, but see, it wasn't. They weren't looked at as a mob
yeah.
and burned down an entire neighborhood
Hmm.
and came out of their neighborhood into somebody else's neighborhood.
Right.
But who's violent?
Yeah, that's true. Now, also, What did you think about the CNN reporter being arrested?
That's when I mean I was already you know, like I had mentioned, I've only seen the videos of what happened to George Floyd with no audio,
Hmm.
and it was one of the longer ones. And I just happened to be, I don't know, I don't even know how I stumbled on the CNN. I was watching it live. It wasn't the replay.
Oh, wow.
I was watching it live.
Oh, my God.
And when I seen
See,
that happen,
dang. So
I
I
just
know
had
that was
to,
crazy.
I was just like, you mean to tell me that and I sat there just wondering, are they going to be bold enough to
Oh,
do it again
and
on
then I
live TV?
see on live freaking TV. Now that is crazy because you actually saw it live.
I saw it
I
live.
I I didn't see it live. I saw it when I got off of work and it was on another YouTuber's channel. I hadn't even had a chance to look at the news. Like I was literally getting in my car and I got this alert. This lady was live who I'm subscribed to. So I was, I'm in my car, put my seatbelt on. I'm just trying to get in there and chat and let her know, hey, how you doing? Greet everybody. And I'm looking at this video like, what is going on here? I didn't even know what was going on because from the thumbnail, she just had the person's name. And I'm like, okay, who is this person? I was so oblivious. And then when I saw the man on the man's neck and I heard what the man was saying and how he was just literally like crying out, I'm like, oh my God, is what is going on here? And
You're
then
not.
as I
I'm talking
got
about this.
home and I started seeing it on the news, I was like, oh my freaking goodness.
No, no, I'm talking about the CNN report. The reporter,
Oh, oh,
as
oh,
he
oh, oh.
getting
My
arrested.
bad, my bad, my
Yeah,
bad.
that's what I was. Yeah, I happened to stumble across the CNN report.
See,
The
I didn't see that live either. I
It
saw it
was
after the
live,
fact.
and I'm seeing
Yeah,
it. He's doing his reporting, and all of a
right.
sudden the police coming up, and I'm thinking, okay, well maybe this is some type of reenactment,
Right.
or what
Yeah.
the heck was going? I mean, I was stunned
That was so crazy. On TV. And
on
then,
live
I
TV.
mean, his credentials were visible.
Yes, visible. He visible. Said it out loud. Took the badge, showed them everything, and it's like they stood there. Like I said, I was watching this live. This is what I was talking about.
Okay. So
And
that even is
after
that's worse.
after seeing the George Floyd videos, and then seeing this
Yeah.
live happening live, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I
Yeah.
was telling my husband, because the guy, the policeman that was arresting him, when he was asking him, why am we being arrested? And why am I being arrested? And he says, I don't know. I'm just following orders. And
Hmm.
I said to my husband, I said, you, 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 you got to see this.
Orders from who?
And what I was saying to him too, like I was thinking, okay, I understand, the orders thing.
Right?
However, the reason that you out there is because some, idiot was following orders, following their training, as they love to say.
Hmm.
Couldn't, okay, why didn't you ask your supervisor, do you really think this is a good idea to do this on live TV? Or the
Right, because
supervisor, should
yeah.
have said, boss man, you sure you really want to arrest this man? on live TV. Have you forgotten
Exactly.
the reason that we out here in the first place?
And then not only that, it's the media, so you know they're recording you.
Yes. I mean, I was done. I was like, please don't tell me that this is fixing that this is, some type of uh, staged thing,
Yeah.
or that this is not fixing to happen within 4 days of what we just saw.
Right. And then for
Y-
you to
y-
have seen it live, I know you were tripping.
I was tripping. I
Mm.
was tripping. And then I got just angry
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah, because that was the whole point. Now, see, I didn't see it live either. And that was the whole good thing about when I was working remotely. I could see everything.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting everything late, but I'm still following up and paying attention. But if I would have saw that live, I'm sure I would have been blown away. But when I saw it, I was like, what in the world kind of sense does this make?
Mm-mm.
I'm like, here this man is obviously not a part of the problem. He is obviously down here doing what all these other journalists are doing.
Mm-hmm.
He is covering the story for one of the largest news outlets out here. Okay, he has identified that to you. You can visibly see. So your justification of I'm just following orders doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. There's no threat being posed here. I still don't understand what the justification was for him being placed under arrest.
They still didn't they of course he was on after they released him, and he said they still were not told why.
Exactly. Now that's crazy.
Even when they were released, they still did not tell them exactly why they were arrested. So my only thought is it was to still try to, a show of force.
Hmm. To let it be known that, hey, I don't know how else could someone of color take that. How could any person of color, black, brown, how else could you view that unspoken message
Hmm.
other than, you know, we're still in charge here.
Hmm.
I don't care what your degree is. I don't care who you work for. In our eyes, we are here and you are there.
Hmm.
That was the unspoken message that it showed.
Yes.
And
I don't see how
that was
else you could
crazy.
take it.
Yeah, that was very crazy.
I don't see how else you could take it. I mean, because
And I don't
that.
think that was a good thing, especially with all this racial tension.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I said it the way I said it. It could have sent any other message but that. I mean,
Yeah.
because that's like putting jet fuel on a fire that's already burning.
Okay. Exactly. And then it's like, I don't know, that just seemed like such a violation of his rights.
It was.
And then to actually it was like a form of humiliation,
Yes. Yes.
you
That.
know?
Hmm. Yes.
Like we don't care how hard you work to get on your high horse, you're still a
Mm.
Nigger, you know?
Say it a little louder for the people in the back.
And that's the sad part, and that is so oh, that part just pissed me off. I'm just gonna say it. Pissed me off. Because that was so unnecessary.
And
That
see,
was so
that's the
unnecessary.
part too that we have a large segment of the population, because it's not just going on here, it's going on all over the world. And we
Yeah.
have such a large segment of, the population who, say that they're not like that,
Right.
but say that, frequently will say that they didn't know that this has been going on. And then when
Yeah.
you do find out, okay, I could maybe give you that back in the 30s, the 20s, the 40s, maybe even the 50s, and maybe even the 60s. Because, of course, what actually got on television, televisions were more widely available then, and more of a certain segment of population were able to have a TV in their house.
Right. It's
You
just
could
too
see what
much.
was going on.
Yeah.
And now with computers and now smartphones, which is
Hmm.
basically a computer in your hand,
Right.
how could you not know? And of course, yeah, I hear a lot of it too, especially, um, the so-called, spiritual ones or whatever. Oh, I can't watch, Okay, so
Yeah.
so that's really to me, the more I think about it, is an excuse to, be able to try to say that, oh, I didn't know.
Right. Like, okay, you're an ostrich now. Your head is just in the ground. You know what? When people tell me, oh, I don't watch TV, oh, I don't watch the news, I don't look at the news, it's just too depressing. Listen, I'm that nosy that I want to know what's going on. I want to be aware of my immediate surroundings as well as what's going on abroad.
Yeah.
I have always been like that, even as a child. My
Oh, me
grandmother
too.
always kept it on the news, and I was always right there by her side, you know. And so I just developed that, I guess, sense of curiosity from a young person. And
Girl,
so, yeah, I'm not an ostrich.
same here. Even though I don't watch actual TV, but
Right,
yo, thank goodness that my internet is not capped,
right, right.
because I
And
make
that's the beautiful
full
thing.
use of it.
Yeah, you can go on and you can see everything. Pretty much all of the major media outlets have web streaming or, they're broadcasting right there on their website.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I get that part where people aren't really watching TV like that. You can pretty much see it on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, computer. And if you got an internet source, you can definitely be kept in the loop.
Hmm. So
So
it's a
it's impossible for people to not know what's going on.
it's a willful ignorance.
It is a willful ignorance. And
You're
I
choosing.
actually, exactly, I'm actually very grateful to see more and more white people that are speaking out and saying, hey, this is actually terrible. Something needs to be done. This is not all white people's thoughts and views. I'm noticing that I'm seeing more of that popping up versus how before in the past it was, oh, I didn't realize that was going on. I'm so sorry. You know, or trying to I don't want to say act because hey, I don't know. But oh, hey, Natural State Beauty, thank you for coming in. Good morning. I wasn't even paying attention to the chat. So thank you for being here. But you're now starting to see more and more people actually come and speak out against the inequality. And I think that's necessary.
It is.
It's necessary. because it can't just always be us, because I mean, we know where we stand as a
Mm-hmm.
people. We know what our thoughts are. We need for other people to actually take it into account that, hey, this is wrong.
Yeah.
This is wrong on so many levels, and come into agreement with us that it's wrong. And then maybe from there, we can start moving towards the change that is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes.
Oh, wow. Natural State Beauty says, what happened made me cry. It is so horrible.
Yeah.
Natural State Beauty.
And
I'm so
it,
sorry.
like you were talking about the officials, some folks seem to forget as well. You know, the Central Park 5
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
had uh those, yeah, of course. And I've had I'm questioning now whether they were well meaning, but I've had people say, especially after they saw the Netflix documentary
Mm-hmm.
that was done, and I still have not watched the entire documentary yet. But I've had some so-called well-meaning people say, "Well, they got a settlement. It took everything I had to keep from, you know, just really going ghetto."
Okay.
and what I
Okay.
wanted to say,
Ghetto.
you know,
Yes. Yes. And you just reminded me of that too now because I'm still new to Netflix. So I'll have to actually check that out because I remember saying, dang, I don't have Netflix. I couldn't watch it. So I'm going to
yeah,
have to put that in my to do list. But
it
what is
is
a settlement?
exactly because
My
years,
husband says
decades
that
of
all
those
the
boys'
time.
lives were taken.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they were still they weren't legal adults when this happened. So a good part of their childhood, their teens, was taken away
Right.
over a lie, and and
Over a
and
lie.
and perpetual lies that got them convicted, and somebody who took out a full page ad calling for their execution.
Wow.
And you wondering why. And we should know some, and I'm sure some of these so-called well-meaning folks don't even know who that is. I'll give you a clue. He's sitting in, one of
Mm.
in the big house.
Wow. Now,
And you
see,
wonder why folks are mad.
I kind of remember hearing something about that too. So I'm gonna put my journalism hat on
Yes.
and follow up and research that one.
Put out a full page ad in the New York Times
Ain't
calling
that
for their
crazy?
execution.
That is so crazy.
So
I know
had they acted on that,
they wouldn't even be here to tell
they
their
wouldn't be
story.
here to prove that, because their innocence didn't come until much, as far as once they finally were uh, let
Middle-aged
out of
men
jail.
now,
Yes, proved that they were innocent.
but they were adolescents at this
Yes,
time.
yes, they
Ain't that
were.
crazy? That is
Yes, they
beyond
were.
nuts to me. That is so beyond nuts. I had to come in here and fix me a cup of coffee because I'm just chatting. Now, I noticed too yesterday, I can't remember this person's name. I need to look it up. But when I turned the TV on, when I woke up, they were showing this man on the Today Show who I guess he went viral for singing some, what was the man's name? Billy Elton song, Georgia. What's the man's name?
Elton John.
Elton John. I'm saying Billy Elton. Elton
You
John song. Okay, and so I guess Elton John reached out to him and personally thanked him. Well, I was thinking to myself as I was listening, like, okay, what's significant about that? Okay, well, this man had just got released from being falsely accused of a
Mm,
crime, black man, and I think he did like almost 30 years.
yes. Yes.
And I'm like, what?
See, this is the
What?
all of the what people claim to not understand. The
How's that?
anger.
Oh my God.
That's
And
all of
who
that. It's
knows?
many cases like that.
I was just going to say, who knows how many
Many
more people are sitting up incarcerated on false pretenses?
false pretense because
That is
they
just nuts.
fit the description.
They fit the description, my God. Mm.
And the sad part is a lot of times, and not only sitting in jail, brutalized. There was one case not too long ago. A girl, they, whew, they beat this girl down. She was like 5'2", 5'1", 5'2".
Hmm.
Probably probably even 100 pounds soaking wet. I think she was. I can't remember exactly how old she was. I'm pretty sure she was a teen. I don't think she was grown because she was carrying a book bag. They were looking for a black
Lie.
male that was 5'11", so-called black male, but
Hmm.
yet she fit the description.
Was this recent or older?
No, not too recent. Probably, I think I want to say 2015, something like that.
Wow.
Hmm.
Mm.
And we wonder why people are mad.
I don't understand why we wondering.
Well, no,
I
it's only a certain population that's wondering.
Yeah. That's why I said yesterday, shoot, I would be offended for someone to tell me I shouldn't be angry right now.
Hmm.
And I'm not angry at everybody or every white person or every police officer for that matter. But you got to call a thing a thing.
Yeah.
We're upset. We're tired. We're outraged. And we just need to see some changes.
Hmm.
I just don't get it.
They say the only way I think, only way we're gonna see some changes when it's at their front door, and
You might be right.
it's it pains me to say that, but I tend to look at things from a very realistic point of view and from observation.
Yeah. And unfortunately, and I have to agree with you on that because I use this as an example. And I've had this conversation with many people. Um, we know that when crack cocaine hit the scene,
Mm.
when crack cocaine hit the scene, what was that, the 80s?
Hmm. Oh yes,
Okay, that was in the 80s.
actually, in the
Primarily
late 70s,
late
it really.
70s to the
Hmm.
what, mid to late 80s is when it was really
Hmm.
at its prime peak.
Hmm.
Okay, where was that primarily at? Okay, it was
Hmm.
in the hood, it
Hmm.
was in the black communities, it was in the
Hmm.
poor and disenfranchised communities, right?
Hmm.
Um, it wasn't no big deal. It wasn't getting no outrage. You didn't hear people pushing for no treatment and rehabilitation.
Hmm.
It was a poor people's thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you come into more recent times And I really can speak to this because I'm currently working in the pharmaceutical field and in the medical background field. Now, what are we constantly hearing about in the news? The opioid epidemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
The opioid epidemic. Whose front door is that primarily at now? Okay? And now that it's at other people's front door, what is being pushed?
Mm-hmm.
All kind of regulations are in place, all kind of limitations are in place, all kind of treatment is being made available. I mean, there is multiple
Actually,
laws.
actually, it actually it that the treatment and the funding for that treatment had been made available as a result of mm, the Affordable Care Act.
Wow.
A lot of people
Interesting.
don't know that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. I noticed
that's where the
that every
funds go.
time.
Hmm.
That's very interesting because I just have noticed in my own personal experience and seeing it on a daily basis that it's oftentimes not people that look like me. Not to say that it's not people that look like me that are struggling with that situation. It is definitely a big thing. Um, but it's just interesting because it started landing on other people's doorsteps
Hmm.
that didn't fit the description,
Hmm. Hmm.
but fell
Oh no,
victim to it.
that couldn't
And
happen here.
and when that started happening, it was a whole different approach to it.
Hmm.
Um, Gigi says, I left the criminal justice field due to the corruption that I witnessed daily. Mandatory sentencing was used to incarcerate our people for the rest of their lives. I'm numb. And that's sad. That's
Yeah,
sad because we are becoming numb and desensitized to this stuff. And that should absolutely not be the case.
exactly. I'm glad that you worded it the way that you did, um, because even some of folks, oh, they say they sad about what happened. Nah, you need to be what they say, mad as a horn, using one of their expressions, mad as a hornet's nest. And I'm trying to keep this PG correct because we on live. Because I
Right.
wanted to say something else.
Right, right, right.
Everybody, lottie dottie, everybody should
Okay.
be flipping mad.
I agree. I agree. Gigi said our white counterparts are given lesser charges in most cases, mid seam or midstream.
That should be misdemeanor, I think.
Oh, misdemeanor. Okay.
What she was trying to spell.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, that makes sense. Okay. See, and yeah, oh my goodness. Like I was saying here yesterday.
Hmm.
Wait, but before I go there, let me read. Natural State Beauty says, I'm saying that the policeman was doing some evil incarnation while putting his knees on the
Hmm.
black man.
I agree.
You know,
Let's call it what it
that
is.
the thing that really struck me as odd watching that video, did anybody else find it weird or eerie and creepy? The look on his face and in his eyes and how he had his hands in his pocket?
Definitely.
I
But
was
did
just like, what is going on here?
did you
As that
see?
man cried out. It was
Did you?
very, mm,
I was going to wanted to ask y'all, you and anybody in the chat, did you all see the longer video where um the security camera that was right on the corner where his vehicle was parked? And when they pulled him out of the car and sat him on the ground up against the building.
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
Fine. I
I've
think it was. I
I've
want to say it
heard.
was either the Washington Post, and who knows, they may have taken it down by now. But look for it. I believe it was either. I'm pretty sure it was the Washington Post on YouTube.
I'm
Go
sure
on
I
there,
can find it.
find it.
You know, somebody done screenshot it.
Um, this was the entire video, and I'm pretty sure this was the security camera, so you don't hear the audio. And see, this is the one that the one that I saw, and I think it's about 7 minutes long, or it's not a short video. And the question that I have not heard asked yet, and when you watch that video, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because they sit him on the ground, they pull him out the car. You see all this very clearly. They pull him out the car. You can clearly see he's not arrested. He's not resisting. They handcuffed him. And walked him and sit him down on the sidewalk. And the policeman, one policeman's talking to him for a bit, and then a few minutes later, they pick him up and they take him across the street. Then you see the police cruiser that was on that corner, right there at the corner, back up just a little bit, do a U-turn in the street, and go right across the street. After the policemen and the ones that were walking uh, Mr. Floyd across the street. I haven't heard anybody ask what was the purpose of taking him across the street. But once you see that police cruiser make that move across the street, you'll clearly see why. They didn't want that camera to see what they was about to
Mm,
do.
wow.
That's my
Wow.
interpretation of it. Because that was the first question I asked. Why are they taking him
Wow.
across the street? You already have him handcuffed.
Right. Isn't that something? Natural State Beauty said it's still up on Twitter. And
Yes.
then Ann Stanton said he wasn't resisting.
No, he was not. That's why I watched it. I had seen it, because it kept popping up in my feed. Um, and it took me a couple of days before I said, I know I'm gonna have to prepare myself to watch this. And I'm thankful that that didn't have any audio, because I just don't think that I could have taken that part. But I cut it
Yeah.
off once I seen him take across the street, because I knew something was going to happen. For you to move him, you already had him handcuffed.
In custody, right? Detained.
Why did you take
And
him all the way across the street?
that is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Ann Stanton said, "Did you see that three of them were on
Yes,
him?"
there were
I
three.
didn't see that, but I have heard people in, covering in their YouTube videos of the story
Yeah,
that there
there's
were
pictures.
actually three officers on him
Yes.
while the one was on his neck.
Yeah. One was on
That's
it, and one, and then two more, two or three. One was positioned near the back. I mean, in the middle of the back, probably close to the heart. And it looks like the other two were, one. I saw three, and one near his, I guess, legs, or probably lower back. Now, see anybody, and fortunately, someone else that was once, they got him across the street, and they are, and this part was taking place. Somebody was across the street and had taken a photo of
wow.
it. So yeah, and see, this is what this is why I call it willful ignorance.
Yeah.
That people want to say, that there's no reason to be angry about what's going on. And then it took 4 days for him to be arrested. And
And
now, yeah, he's finally charged. But
with the lowest possible charge, though, the lowest possible charge. It just doesn't make any sense. And then, I mean, okay,
Yeah, exactly an
like
attribute.
Gigi said too, in her experience working in the corrections field, people that are non-black, they were sentenced to misdemeanor and community service. And when we get charged with felonies, she was saying she worked with a 17-year-old young lady that was sentenced to 89 years for
Hmm.
carjacking. So in
Hmm.
that instance, no one lost their life. It was a crime. She should definitely be prosecuted, but no one lost their life.
Hmm. Hmm.
When we see people lose their life on camera, because thank goodness for the technology, how do they get the lowest possible charge?
Hmm. Well, if you listened to, and I don't really know exactly his position, but I believe he was part of the national, you know, um, thing on this. Yeah, the FBI, whoever has been brought in to look at this. If you listen to, and that live was a couple of days ago. Yeah, it was a couple of days ago. Can't remember what channel it was on because my husband was looking at it on his tablet, and I was just listening while I
Hmm.
was in the kitchen.
Right.
So I didn't go and look and see what channel it was. But if you listen to what he was saying, now this was at the point before they had even arrested him. Just listen, listen to what he's saying. In my eyes, he was giving clues that they were going to try to get him off just by what he was saying.
Was that the black man?
No, no. Mm-mm. This is one of
Okay.
these federal guys. Yeah.
Okay. Because
Look for that one. Where the prosecutors. It's a lady, and I'm assuming that she is the DA of Minnesota.
that
Um,
jurisdiction.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the man that was talking. Well, they kind of were switching back and forth as the reporters were asking them questions. But
Okay. Like a
look for
press
that.
conference.
Uh-huh. Yes, yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was a press conference. And listen to what he's saying. And I think you'll probably come to a similar conclusion that I had when I was hearing that. So the
Hmm.
third degree doesn't surprise me at all. Because he was
Yeah,
kind of
so strange.
alluding to that from the video, from the information that they had, the evidence that they had, that there was not evidence of, how did he say it, criminal. It was either criminal wrongdoing or you know
Or
something
intent.
that would not be able to support a premeditated or a one murder one charge.
Wow.
But he just didn't exactly word it like that. That's why you really have to listen.
Yeah. I'm going to have to definitely, I mean, there's so much to follow up on with this case. And this is just only the most recent case.
Hmm.
Um, what there was something else. Gigi said it's all part of a plan to make our people perish by any means. Natural State Beauty says that these people were looking for sacrifice. Imagine what they do when the camera is off. I am telling you, you guys, oh my God. Um, Here in South Carolina, a couple years ago now, I don't know if you guys were familiar with the Walter Scott case. Um, Here in South Carolina, if you owe child support, they will arrest you. You will be going to jail. Well, this particular man was driving. He had a busted tail light. The officers pulled him over and he ran away. He was running. He was running away to flee from being arrested. Okay. He had not committed an actual crime. He owed back child support. Hey, Web Savvy, thanks for popping back in.
Was that Walter
Um,
Scott?
Walter Scott. Yes. This boy happened to be walking down the street and I'm so thankful for this man. It was an angel that day because he pulled his phone out and he hit record. Um, as Walter Scott took off running, he was shot in the back
Hmm.
by the police officer, and that police officer then went in, wiped that gun off, and
Hmm.
set it down beside him, and then he called in. Now, that goes to my point of, I believe, what Natural Stay Beauty was saying about imagine what they do when the cameras aren't around. He didn't know he was being recorded. He didn't know that that whole incident had been caught on tape. Now, that officer ended up hiring one of the most prestigious criminal defense attorneys here in South Carolina. However, he's still in jail. I believe the only reason why he's still in jail is because it was caught on camera. And I don't know how you could explain away the fact that you went and staged the crime scene. Now, the part that saddened me about that particular case was there was a black officer on the scene with him, and he just idly stood by. Now, I can't remember the details on whether or not he spoke out against it. I would have to go back and research that. And I keep telling myself I want to go back and look at some of these older cases and see, like what's going on now? Where are they now? I would like to do that with um, all of these cases, really, because it's like they keep happening. We keep seeing them. And then, they'll be in the news for about a week or two. And then we just don't hear nothing else about it
Hmm. Yeah.
until the next thing happens. And
Yeah.
Mr. George Floyd is now the next thing.
And the next.
Last
And
week it was Breonna Taylor. The
hmm
week before last it was Ahmaud Arbery, and so on and so on and so on. And it is nuts.
and that one
It
didn't
is,
happen. I mean, that one happened 2 months prior.
yeah. And I hadn't heard a drop about it until the only reason why we heard about it was because it was going to court. That was the whole reason why I had included it in my little weekly recap series because I had never even heard of it. I didn't hear about it. I never heard about that crime at all.
Yeah, nobody didn't either. Nobody
And
else either.
I'm always on the news looking at these kind of things. So I was so shocked. I was so shocked. And then that's the other thing. That's like one of the reasons why I like doing that series because people are actually in the comments like, "Oh my God, thank you for sharing this, Pandy. I didn't know that." And I'm like, you know what? How many people didn't know this? Because it's no kind of spotlight being shown on these things that are happening to Black people.
Hmm.
It's terrible.
And a lot of it, like I said, it's not. Um, those are just the recent events.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't know about the stuff that's was going on because I'm gonna be honest myself. I just in the recent as far as Tulsa, I didn't find out about Tulsa until I want to say twenty
Good morning,
seventeen.
Shawana. Really?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. Tulsa, Rosewood. I just found out about these places in the last 5 years or so. Well, more than 5 years because I was like 2014, so that'd be 6 years. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
recent decade. And a lot of other folks didn't know about it either
Exactly.
because it's been wiped from the
Exactly.
history books. It's not even taught in
Eh,
schools.
exactly. I would like to know, like, for example, what about the case that happened just a couple of months ago with the man's in his apartment in
Botham John.
Yes, Otham. Okay,
Botham
the
Jean.
girl went upstairs to supposedly the wrong apartment, but it was supposed to be in hers. I mean, that whole story was just like totally ridiculous.
Yeah, and that was another one where it
And
took 3 days, 4 days.
and my thing is, How do you go to somebody else's door and end up shooting somebody? And then it later comes out that you actually had some kind of relationship or interaction with this person, but now this person is dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's too many unsolved mysteries, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in addition to the unsolved mysteries and the stuff we don't even know about or see, this stuff here with Mr. Floyd, I mean, it hit a nerve and it has triggered people in ways that are just like you knew it was going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
now we're seeing the outward emotion,
Mm-hmm.
the impact, because people are going out and they're beating, they're destroying, they're burning, they're breaking in, they're doing all kind of stuff. Not to condone, but it's definitely understood. Then the other messed up part about that, we got the outside agitators that are like trying to blend in to, you know, stir up the chaos, like you said, pouring jet fuel on the flame,
Mm-hmm. And already burning flame.
the burning flame, and then who's gonna catch the hell from that?
Mm-hmm. 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 And that's exactly what it's designed, designed to do.
Mm,
That's the agenda. That's the purpose of them doing it. Yeah.
mm.
And until uh the folks that are benefiting from the system, not you're not saying that you are like that, but until they stand up and say, no, this can't keep going on, I don't see where it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it could be stopped another way. Uh, and of course, that would be really, really destructive.
And then here's the thing, because we're kind of like at a standstill with regard to when the change is going to come or when it's going to be safer for us to move about. What do we do in the meantime? We
Uh,
still have to go to work or school or, shopping or wherever it is. There's always this risk or question in the back of your head like, am I going to be attacked? Am I going to be pulled over today? You know, can I just make it home safe today?
yeah,
Can
yeah. I
I just
mean,
go run to the store and make it home safe today?
hmm
And then for people that are parents, um, either, biological parents, godparents, step parents of young black people, that fear, I can't even put into words.
hmm
I can't even put into words.
it's not
I
even just
feel,
parents. It's your relatives
yeah,
or
your
or somebody you
relatives,
know.
your
You know,
nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your grandkids, of what it's just so terrible.
your friends.
Your friends.
And really, we all, whether we know another or not, we're all brothers and sisters. So when it happens to one of them, it's happening to you,
Yeah,
and that's how we may gonna have to go about it, and put a stop to it.
yeah,
But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's and it's not to bash, but they are not aware of the extra energy that Black folks have to expend just to live their everyday lives. You have to always, in the back of your mind, hold is what I am doing in going about my everyday life. Could this one action be perceived as threatening and therefore end my life?
Right.
Now, I have a little story to share. Um, this happened. Let me see. I'm trying to remember. It was in the early 2000s. No, it may have been the late 90s. I was on my way to work, 6 o'clock in the morning, because I had to be there at 7. Or I might have had to be there at 6. It was early because it wasn't even light yet. It was still dark, but it was warm outside. So it was either spring or fall. And I was running late, got up running, running late. Didn't have time to fix my breakfast. And I was planning on stopping to get some gas. So I
Hmm.
said, shoot, I got to choose between one or the other. Do I get something to eat? Because I ain't had time to do both and to make it to work on time.
Right.
So, uh, and I go to work. I go, and I said, well, I'm going to stop and get something to eat. And I got enough gas to make it there. I was riding on fumes, literally, because that light comes on when you're low.
Hmm.
So when that light come on, you riding on fumes. And the light had came on the day before, early the day before. So I was
Hey,
riding on
Web
fumes.
Savvy.
Hey, I'm not gonna stay long, but I just did want to discuss a couple of things with you all because I'm feeling some sort of way as well.
Right.
Yeah. And so I stopped and and got my sausage biscuit. That was at the time I was still eating that. And I pull out and get back on the road, head on to work. Next thing I know, woo, 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 see the blue lights. Damn, I just pulled out here, so he can't be pulling me over for speeding.
Right.
You can't go that fast because the traffic light was like maybe 30 feet from once you because he had to cross a 2 lane to get over to the other 2 lane to go direction I needed to go. So I'm like, why is he pulling me over? And I know I didn't have a busted tail light or out light enough because uh, back then, and I really need to get back into that habit. I used to go around and check all that every day. So I'm like, why is he pulling me over? So he pulls me over and said, "It's black car. Just I'm pulling. The reason I'm pulling you over is because this black car pulled out of the left the gas station, got a tank full of gas, and didn't pay."
Oh, Lord.
So you see what I'm getting at,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I still think about that to this
You
day.
fit the description,
Yeah, a
even if
black
it wasn't a
person
real
driving
description.
but yeah, driving a black car. So
Mm-mm-mm.
and I still think about that,
Yeah.
wondering what would have happened if I had gotten gas. And
Exactly.
at that time, I was not using a credit card, and that was one of that pretty much was the incident. Um, because I've had something like that happen when I was only 15 years old, not 15, 14 years old.
Hmm.
Thinking what would have happened had I had enough time to also get gas. And I was, paying cash. Because a lot of time when you get gas, do they give you a receipt when you pay cash?
And usually they don't.
Especially
Well,
back then. No, they
mm,
rarely didn't. So I wouldn't have even had a receipt to prove that I paid for that gas. From
Right.
then on, I pretty much stopped using cash and use my credit card to pay for everything because they give you a receipt when you use your credit card.
Right, just to have a record.
Well, that is ironic that you mentioned that because something that, like that happened to me as well, Miss Barola. And for that reason, I will not pull away even if I go in and pay cash without getting a receipt.
With that,
And
exactly.
And if the machine is out of tape, then I go inside and tell them to print me a receipt because I was in Georgia. I used to live uh, outside of Atlanta, and I remember pulling out. Now, no one had claimed that anyone stole any gas, though. That was the kicker. And I pulled out, went a couple of blocks, woo, behind me. Did you pay for your gas? I'm like, what?
Mhm,
A whole couple of blocks later.
Yes. And I realized something then is that we have to remember you do have people from these organizations like what he could have just been a racist cop. Now, you could have people that are involved in the neo-Nazis, in the KKK and other organizations, and these people are planted all over our communities. And you don't know who you're dealing with. And so for
mhm,
that reason, I don't even deal with cash anymore with something like that. And if I do have to, I make sure I have a receipt because that stays in the back of my mind. The same
mhm.
thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. I say from that day on when I changed banks and I got a credit card, I pays for my gas, my groceries, everything. Not everything,
Yeah.
everything
Okay.
with a credit card. And I'll be like, and the same thing, like you said, when the machine be out,
Yeah.
honey, I march my butt right on up there. Can I have my receipt, please?
Mhm, mhm,
Right.
mhm,
And I've
And
even had
it's
sometimes cashiers talking about, "Oh, where the machine? Well, you gonna have to go right out for something because you finna give me a receipt."
mhm,
okay, and it's like you gotta pay. We gotta make all these extra steps of precaution just to, make a conscious effort to prove we ain't did nothing.
Mhm,
mhm, mhm.
We
mhm,
ain't did nothing.
And it's a shame. I remember I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Miss Furo or somebody was saying about how you have to teach your young African American boys when and I have one and I remember thinking, oh my God, he's getting to the age where I'm going to have to teach him, his father and I are going to have to teach him that there's a double standard.
mhm,
And, uh,
Hmm.
because we
yes,
did not want him to get hurt, you
Right.
know. And so I had to use double speak because I have to teach him and uplift him and empower him
mhm,
as a young black male. And you can do anything through Christ Jesus. You can do anything you put your mind to. But here's the caveat, you got to be careful.
mhm.
Right.
Oh yes, yeah,
Right. You have to actually literally double speak.
oh yeah, that's the conversation. It's sad because, and it's not just the boys because
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
they,
In particularly the boys, but not just.
not just, like I
Right.
mentioned earlier, uh, had another incident when I was 14, 15 years old, doing the grocery shopping for the entire family. And back then, y'all know how old I am, so it wasn't using no credit cards.
Hmm.
And I'm sure they had to been watching me. Paid
Mm,
for the groceries with the cash that my folks had given me. Right after, right after that, pulled me into the I guess the loss prevention, whatever. Thank goodness it was in the front of the store
mhm,
and searched me and all went through all of my stuff
mm,
and accused me, said that you stole stuff. I'm like, stole what?
Mm. Violated your civil rights as a child. Mm.
As soon as I
Mm-hmm.
left right that the cashier, the cashier. Okay.
Where the
How could I?
cashier could have just came and verbally cleared it up.
Yep, that didn't happen.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah,
then as a
what black
child,
parent hasn't had that conversation
Right,
right.
right.
with their
Right.
kids? You have to. I
I,
Mm-hmm.
remember getting it.
I did it in person once with my son. We were in Las Vegas visiting relatives, and we were in like a CD store, music store, and both of us are walking out, and we're standing outside waiting for our pickup, and the loss prevention guy comes running out the store talking at my son. Now he was 14 at the time. And so I stepped in the way. I said, "What's your problem? You talk to me." He stole something. I said, "He doesn't have to steal anything in here. I have everything that he needs. And if he needs something, I can purchase it. So where's your proof?" And so he says, "Well, it's on video." And told my son to come back with him. And my son was getting ready to walk. And I said, "You stand right there." Because I knew the law. I said, "He's not going back in that store." "Well, I'm going to call the police." I said, "You do what you have to do." And then he goes back in the store and then he comes back out and he said he threw something away. What he had was, he told me he picked up one of those loss prevention stickers, the ones that make the the detectives go off. And
Mm-hmm.
he picked it up off the floor to throw it in the garbage. And when we were coming out the store, he realized that, oh, we getting ready to go out the store, go through this thing. And so he just threw it back in the store. And so he's saying that was proof of him stealing something. And I said, "You out of your mind." I
Mhm.
said, "We're getting ready to go. Bye, Felicia." You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm, mm,
yeah.
mm.
And then I had to explain that to my son. I'm like, the- I worked at Geek Squad for a while, with Best Buy. And I would tell the loss prevention people, I would see how they would watch who walked in the store. And they
Mm.
have the cameras and they can view anyone. And I said to the gentleman, I said, because we were friends, he was a white guy. And I said, "Why are you watching just the people of color?" I said, and I was living in
Mhm.
San Diego at the time. And he said, "I don't do that. You're just trying to start something, Kim." And I said, "No, I noticed that." And I said, "Now, this is who you need to be watching." He said, "Who?" And I said, "It's 85 degrees outside, and that white woman over there has a trench coat on. What do you think about?" And they ended up finding
Mm,
out that she
mm,
had, remember when those netbooks were hot, the little bitty laptop?
mhm. Yeah.
She had two of them underneath her coat.
Mm.
Mm. Imagine that.
Yeah, you're right. 85 degree. What the hell you do?
Okay.
Ain't nobody that cold nature.
Okay.
Okay, I know some cold nature people because I live with one. But at 85 degrees, you ain't gonna see him in no damn trench coat. Excuse my language. And he cold nature, and I don't know what. You know,
Oh my
I
God.
think it's 50 degrees, and he'd be like, "Oh, it's winter time." I'm like, "Winter time? What you talking about?" See, yeah,
Wow.
Hmm. So,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
uh,
presumed. Uh, like we doing something just by I mean, you could just walk in the door and
Mm-hmm.
you presumed, that you doing something wrong.
mhm.
Yep.
so
Eh,
what we have to do as African Americans, and I haven't seen the majority of us doing it yet, is we have to decide not to patronize with those people.
Oh, I do, honey.
Thank you.
I
I,
do.
I
I don't. It
haven't.
don't even have to happen to me. If I hear about it, I got long lists. Okay, won't be going here.
Look,
Won't be going
exactly.
there. Won't be
I will
going
drive
there.
across town. I will go someplace else. You won't get a penny of my money.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
There's even one whole side of town that I don't go on now. It ain't just
Yeah.
the one business that happened to be located over there. It's the whole side of town. And I've told, because my My stepdaughter and stuff, they like to go out to eat and stuff. And, a lot of time they'll call us and ask and see if, me and my husband want to go. And a lot of time I just, he go when I say, baby, that's all right. I see y'all when you get back, have fun. But once the couple of incidences that happened to us, and it's other incidents that I've heard about going on, I asked, I said, where they going? And if they say they going over that side of town, I tell them, you can go ahead and go, but I'm not. They not
Right.
get one penny,
Mhm.
not one penny, not one. Tell me $1, not 1 cent.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm. That's the way
That's
I
true.
felt about Papa John's Pizza, and Shaquille O'Neal is doing a lot to try to let everybody know that that man and the people who are involved with those incidents with Papa John's is
Yeah,
done. If
I
he's
did.
in charge, yeah, yeah.
So I've been, even though I had stopped patronizing Papa John's many years before that, but I said, well, won't be ever resuming it.
Mhm, mhm,
You know. Oh
mhm.
yeah, I do that in a minute, honey. In a
And
hot.
so I noticed when I was, because I grew up in Chicago, and so I'll go back there. I have a lot of family there, and I was at a. Have you guys ever heard of a chain called Church's Chicken?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
Oh yeah.
hometown.
So they have them there, and the franchise owner was a, I want to say a Middle Eastern man, maybe Arabian. I'm not really sure. I didn't ask him, and there were plenty of African Americans in the store. And I was coughing, but I did not know that the coughing was related to that store. I just thought I had a tickle in my throat. And a young
Mm-hmm.
woman came in with her boyfriend, and she said, and she was not rude. She said, "Excuse me, sir." And she didn't wait in line. She said, "Excuse me, sir, but uh, I want my money back." And he was very rude. "What's wrong? What's wrong with the chicken?" And she said, "You cooked this chicken in black grease." And that's when I realized that I was coughing because the grease was burning.
Mm.
And he said, "There's nothing wrong with that chicken." And everybody's in the store just watching. And she said, "Yes, it is. And I want my money back." And so he said, "Well, you have to wait in line." And when I heard him say that, I said, "Oh, I'm done. I'm done." I said, "You know what?" And I turned to everyone and I said, "Right now, he's cooking chicken in black grease, and he won't doesn't want to give this young woman her money back." I said, "I for one am done. I am not going to patronize him. We should all leave." And everybody looked at me like I was a fool, and I'm the only one that went out that door.
Mhm.
Whose
Mhm.
house would you
Mm.
go over to? Pandy, if you came over my house and I was cooking chicken in black grease, would you eat it?
Mhm.
No.
No,
No, child, I
please.
wouldn't eat it, and you wouldn't see me grace your threshold ever.
Exactly.
Again.
So why did they stay in the store? Why? I don't get it.
Girl.
Uh-uh. Stockholm
It,
syndrome.
it wasn't that serious. It wasn't that serious to get the chicken. But everybody is not going to take a stand for what's right.
Right.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
could have shut that store down if they had all
E-
left.
exactly.
exactly.
And that would have opened his eyes
Yes.
to, you just can't be rude and talk kind of way. And what happened to the customer is always right. If she wanted her refund, give her
Mhm.
money back.
Mhm.
Right.
It ain't about what you
So
think ain't wrong with the chicken. I want my
Mhm.
money back, period, point blank.
Yep.
they treat you the way that you allow them to treat you, and it's not
Yeah.
going to change if
Mhm.
you don't stop patronizing them, because you can't open a franchisee store in their neighborhood and they patronize you. And if they do, if you do something wrong, they're not gonna have it.
Sure ain't.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. I got a question for y'all because I've kind of had this debate. debate with some family members because they don't seem to see it in this way. It was a party, and it was probably about 10 folks. Had a reservation at this certain restaurant. It's a chain. I don't know how widespread the chain is. And I can't remember what was going on at the time, but it was not a busy season because when we got there was only like 3 other cars in the parking lot. Yet when we get in there, didn't even get a chance to go in. And the head of the particular party came back and said they said that they can't serve they can't serve it because the group was too large.
Mm,
Mm.
This is a restaurant, mind you.
That
So
took
they
the
were saying that y'all's group was too large?
and they had taken the reservation.
Yeah, because we ended up going somewhere else.
Because they
Wow.
clearly knew what the number in the party was if they took the reservation.
Uh-huh. I did it well to like I say to state that point that you brought up, Web Savvy. They that establishment went on my list, and
Mhm.
not just here because I'm pretty sure that that this is it's not a big chain, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure that they are in other you know areas of the country. So if I happen to travel to those other areas of the country and they are there, I don't care if they're the only restaurant in town.
Mhm.
I ain't going.
Mhm. Like take a good look at it, you all, because we're not gonna see this place again.
Exactly.
Mm.
And I've told if y'all want to go right ahead. I ain't setting foot in there. I ain't even going to just sit down outside. you know, because a lot of these restaurants, especially here, they'll have the chairs outside. Now,
Hmm.
stay in the car, and you better tell. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you before we go, because if you tell me that's where you're going, I ain't even going in the car with you.
Right.
I'm that serious about it. And they was like, no, 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 that's probably not what. Really,
Mm, mm,
really.
mm, mm,
What else
mm,
could it be?
mhm,
Now, I might
mm,
have let that slide if the parking lot was full. Oh, and by the way, it was on a Saturday.
mhm,
There were 3 cars in the parking lot.
Oh
Two of them was
gosh.
ours.
mm,
Oh, so they just didn't want to serve y'all's group.
Wonder why.
That was just a safer way of saying it.
And the sad part is, we were still in the car.
God,
They hadn't even seen
they saw the representative.
us.
Mm.
So what else? I mean, how else can you interpret that?
Well, how did your family members, different ones, interpret it, and that's why you had the debate? What did they say?
It was kind of like they were, I guess, not really want to accept it.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, they just didn't want
And
to
I'm
believe
like,
it.
it is what it is.
Hmm.
That's what happened. I mean, how else can you interpret that?
Right.
Like I say, needless to say,
Exactly.
I ain't ever going there again.
Hmm.
I go to the hotel room and
Yeah.
make me up. And I don't even eat bologna no more. I eat a bologna sandwich.
Miss Food Roller said salmon.
Okay.
Sandwich.
Right.
Yeah, you notice I said
Yeah. Okay.
sandwich.
Oh boy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's enough to make you go back to the bologna sandwich. Hmm.
Sandwich. Not sandwich.
And did you all
Sandwich.
see what Gigi said?
No, I ain't see it. I'm on my phone. I can't see it.
Yes. Yes, I heard that, Gigi.
Gigi
I sure did.
said, She said, "Did you all know that the officer that killed George Floyd worked at the same club on the security team?"
Yes,
Mm,
they knew each other.
Now, I had mentioned that yesterday because I heard that, Gigi.
mm,
And that was why I was questioning the fact if it's the case that he worked with him previously as a security officer, even if they didn't know each other, you pass somebody on a job, you might have never even made their acquaintance, but you when you run across them again, something's gonna pop up in your mind. Okay, dang, he looked familiar to me. You know, so and it's being said that they actually, oh, I don't know where that feedback is coming from. Can y'all hear that feedback?
I did earlier, but it sounds like it stopped now.
Hello?
I still hear you. Can you hear me?
Can y'all hear me still?
Oh, wait a minute. That's funny. I can
Oh, okay. So you
hear
can
you.
hear me though.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
But
okay.
that was my
Mm, mm.
yes, I can hear you. Now of course StreamYard wants to start acting up. I don't know what's going on with
They
the StreamYard.
real long now.
But anyway, don't you think that that was kind of ironic, guys? If he worked with him, that makes me question even more.
Mhm. Mhm.
mhm, mhm. It is circumspect, yes.
Yeah. There's more and more layers
I
of that's coming out that it's
know. Part about him initially being pulled over across the street and then being walked over across the street away from the camera.
yeah. Mm, mm, mm.
I don't know why this StreamYard is messing up. Hold on for a second, y'all.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to exit off real quick and come back. I hope it doesn't end the live.
Let's see. Web Savvy, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. All right. Well, we're still on then. So maybe her coming back in might clear it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's we are definitely living in some interesting times.
I know.
I didn't think, well, I shouldn't say that. I was hoping that the times that I was born in that I wouldn't have to actually see it on that same scale
I
or
agree.
similar scale.
I did the same. Hey, Panda,
Can
you
you all
back?
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you hear us?
Okay, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay. It's like a really long delay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
guess I
Miss
might have been
Florida,
on. Maybe I've been on here too long.
repeat that.
No, what I was just saying is I was surprised, hoping that, becoming more familiar with the times that I was actually born in, and just hoping that I wouldn't have to, see it on any scale, during my lifetime, and just seeing the same stuff that I've heard some my parents talk about, and other people who were young adults, you know, during that time. It's sickening.
And I agree. I feel the same way. I do. Just like, is this coming around again?
Yep. Yeah.
So that just means that we have to be vigilant and be stronger. And I, for one, I'm looking to see if there's any real leadership, because there's so many different factions of people trying to do different things. And I don't know. I think the best way to affect any change, I've always said, is to, like Pandi was saying earlier, you have to understand who you're voting for, and not just vote for the representatives and the senators and the president. You have to vote for the judges, the people who are on the appellate courts, things like that, because those are the people who are affecting your community.
Yeah.
You know,
But I
and
say that you have to also be extremely discerning of, um, especially, hate to say it, but those that come into the neighborhood and really vet out and almost put them under the microscope. What are your intentions? Why are
mhm,
you here?
exactly. And it would be great for those of us who are either too busy or do not know to take the time or how to do the research, to have some leadership in the communities that will give you some options on, or show you how to do it, or say, now these are the people that you need to be aware of, because I just don't want to see out of the different factions just um, be so separated where they can't get common ground, and evil tries to separate people. So
Okay,
we
y'all.
can't
Can
get
you hear me
things
now?
done like that.
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You can?
Uh huh. Can you hear us?
Yes, I had to
Okay.
get onto my tablet. I think my phone battery died. That's what was wrong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a delay too, because I can hear our voices a couple of seconds later than on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm trying to
deal
close
with it.
out this one here. I'm sorry.
No, no problem. No apologies needed. Yeah, just thankful we got this platform. So
Hmm.
Gigi says I'm really trying to be rational. I will be on the front line of organized change. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yep. Rational and um, discerning,
Hmm.
analyzing.
I think
Yeah.
one thing that I like too. Oh, go ahead, Miss Laurel.
Mm-mm. No, the only thing I was just, thinking about that old cliche. The devil is in the details.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, this has been very very healthy, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
for us to actually have this platform and be able to actually share and just dialogue and break it down, and really I think a good release for all of us. And like
Yeah.
Gigi said, really just trying to be rational and be on the front line for organized change, because
I
one
most
definitely need
agree.
to take place.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, backyard gardener. I was gonna say good morning. I can't believe we've been on here this long, and if anybody needs to head out, I totally understand, because I sure wasn't even planning on being on here this long.
Well,
I
I'm
think we
glad.
just got to talking and got to sharing, and the conversation's just been going.
Yep. It was definitely needed.
Yeah. I agree.
Mm.
Well, now that my battery is going dead, I'm gonna try and charge it up here. Is anyone else going to be going live anytime soon?
I hadn't decided if I was going to do it today or not. I usually do it every Sunday, but mm, I'm just not feeling it right now. And I got a lot of cleaning to do, and I really don't know if I'm going to have time to prepare for it. But I will let you know if I do, for sure. And
Okay.
if I do, it'll be around 4 or 5
Okay.
o'clock. I know you're still doing the game
Okay.
nights. I'll do my best to be on there.
Yeah, to show our support.
Yes. Yes, because I was feeling that same way, Web Savvy. I was feeling that same way. But like Miss Full Roller said, that's kind of like what all this distraction is designed to make us do. And we
Mm-hmm.
should just continue on and continue to press forward. So
Right.
if you do decide, I definitely got the notifications on and hopefully they're working. I will be there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, if I
All
don't do
right,
it,
Carolyn
it'll
eats
be
all.
because I'm getting ready. I got work and class tomorrow, and I'm trying to clean up and make a sort of like a prayer room sanctuary in one of my rooms. And it used to be a junk room, so I got a
Mm.
lot to clean up.
Mm. I
Yeah,
hear you, sis.
understandable.
I need that prayer room right now. I don't know because the closet I was thinking about using, there's too many clothes in there, so people might not be able to see me
Uh-oh.
if they looking for me. So yeah.
Uh-oh. Hey.
Understandable.
Yep.
All right, well, let me get out of here, you guys.
Oh,
Thanks for
All right.
allowing me to come up and speak with you guys, and
Oh,
I'll catch up with you later.
yes. And I'm gonna
okay,
head out
Web
too.
Savvy. Thank you for coming through.
Thank
Mhm.
you, Pandy. We
You
really
are
appreciate
welcome. Thank you for coming up as well.
really appreciate it. Yep, I'm gonna head out myself too because it's time. And I hope y'all ain't heard it. My stomach is like, hey, send something
Oh,
down
okay.
here.
Mom was doing the same thing too. So yeah, I think I need to go ahead and bring it to a close and go grab me something to eat too, so I can try to finish working on a couple of videos and everything, and then get ready for game night.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and drop out and drop back down in the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for coming up and helping out with this conversation. I really appreciate it. And for those of you all who came in, Backyard Gardener, thank you so much for popping in. I really appreciate it. I really want to thank each and every one of you who decided to come into this live stream this morning. There are so many other places that you could be on today, but the mere fact that you took a moment out of your day to come over and spend some time with me, I do not take it for granted. I appreciate everyone's input on today. And I'm just very glad that we were able to get some of this information and, frustration and all the emotions that go along with it off of our chest in a positive and safe space, in a respectful way. And, it just means so much to me. I really appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough. I do apologize for going so long. That was definitely not my intention. You all know me. I am not one to stay on a live stream this long. So I thank you for your time. You all, I'm going to go ahead and bring it to a close. Just stay safe, everyone. Please stay safe in your prospective cities. And, like Gigi said, we can all do this together. Let's be the change that we want to see and, keep it moving, you know, just stay safe. All right, y'all. I'm Pandy of Pandy's Hair Candy and More. You all have a blessed Sunday afternoon, and I will have game night tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're able to come on back over, I would love to see you on a lighter, happier note, of course. All right, you all take care. God bless, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye now. Now, wait a minute. I said I was ending the live, and I ain't ended it yet. Trying to take Miss Gigi's comment off the screen so it's not showing when people come across the video. Y'all don't mind me. I'm ending the live.